first speaker, Robin. Robin is an MBA 2015 from New York City. Her favorite past Halloween costume was a person driving a car, and that was her. Robin.
Yeah, you guys remember 8th grade when you had time to work on your Halloween costumes and you weren't scared of math? Right, it's good. I moved to Cambridge in June. I left my home in New York. I had lived in the same apartment for 4 years, which in New York is kind of a surprise. And I had lived in New York City for 8 years, and I packed up my home and I moved up here to Cambridge. If you ask me why I moved so early, it's not an easy question to answer. My fiance was starting his PhD, and he was given the opportunity to come and start early. More research! Yes! But I was excited too. I really wanted to get in the groove of living in Cambridge and just answer all those questions I didn't already know the answer to. Where's the nearest supermarket? So I practice walking to the supermarket, I get my groceries, practice walking home. Then I wanted to practice walking to the bodega for when I was too lazy to go to the supermarket. So I practice walking to the bodega, get my junk food, bring it home. I practiced going to Central so that I would be able to hang out with all of you people when I finally got here. You know, walk to Central. Looks good, walk back. I thought I needed a little bit more training on Central than that, so I, practiced walking at night, getting drunk and staggering home. Got it was great, handled it, done. And then I practiced walking to school, because the last thing I wanted to happen was that I would start heading to school on my first day of school and realize I didn't know where it was. So I practiced walking to school, and I actually started timing myself so I could get it down to just the exact amount of time it would take me to get to school, so that I could sleep as late as possible, not get lost, and get there. So I would practice and check my little watch, and very exciting, walk back. Very good. Home, good. And then I started practicing hanging out with people. There were a whole bunch of Sloan gatherings over the summer, and so I would walk to Central and meet up with you people. And I practiced answering all of those questions that you got when you started school. Oh, where are you from? New York. What did you do before you came here? Elephant trainer. No. Crap, try again. No. I designed training content for lawyers. Yes, that's what it was. Good. Okay, practice. Get it right next time. But there was one question that I got over and over again that I just never got any better at answering. And it was, where do you live? And the thing is that when people ask you where you live, they don't want your address. I could give you my address like a champ. I filled it out on many forms. If I got off at the wrong bus stop or got separated from my kindergarten class, a police officer would be able to get me back with no problem. But if you give someone your actual address, they're kind of creeped out. They're like, why are you giving me your address? I just wanted to know where you lived. They want that sort of approximate address. It's like, oh, I can generally place you. You're about there. And that's very hard in a new city. So I first started to say, I live in Cambridge. And then I would get this eye roll, where in Cambridge? And then I would say, well, I live in East Cambridge. And then I would get the head tilt, which was where's East Cambridge? And I just couldn't seem to quite figure out where it was that I lived. So I had lunch with one of the Sloan students that I met at Admit Weekend. She's a native Bostonian. And I said, look, I'm ready for school. I'm so excited. Can't wait to see you. But I have to ask you where I live. Because it seems like I don't know. And I would really like to know. So we talked about it. And she said, oh, you're right around the corner from the chicken slaughter place. And I was like, yeah, I am. There's this big sign that says fresh poultry killed daily, right? A huge sign with like a rooster, right? Clear as day, on Cambridge Street, main drag, gotta be. And she's like, that is a landmark. Everyone knows the chicken slaughter place. And I got really comfortable with it, you know? I was at home, be like, I live near the chicken slaughter place. In fact, it even felt familiar, because when I lived in Harlem, I actually lived near a different chicken slaughter place. So it wasn't just that it was here now that I was living in a chicken slaughter place. I had a history with chicken slaughter places. It was rooted in my background. It was part of who I was. So I went to my next Sloan gathering at the Asgard. I felt very confident. I sauntered up and got my beer, went to the back room, wore my name tag. Someone said, where do you live? And I said, I live near the place where they kill the chickens! Yeah, you can imagine how well that went over. It was like silence. And I was like, you know, fresh poultry killed daily? Nothing. It was still silence. And I was like, it's okay. I live near them all the time. I love living near chicken slaughter places. It's great. You know where? No. As I was stumbling home that night, it occurred to me to think, why do I care so much? Why does it matter if I can tell any of these people approximately where I live? And I started to think about all of the other questions I'd been getting. How's school going? What do you want to do after school? When are you and Nathaniel getting married? How's your mom? All these questions that I absolutely couldn't quite seem to answer. Questions that I so desperately wanted to, but I couldn't answer them. And it feels like it should be so easy to just answer where I lived. And because I had to ask myself these questions over and over again, where I would go to the supermarket, how I would get to school, how I would get back in advance, I'm the person who has to ask myself all of these questions every day, and I'm the person who expects myself to have answers to them. And I think what this was telling me was that I needed to be okay that I was the person who needed to ask, but I had to be okay being the person who didn't know. Thank you.